Okay, now we are back into our Excel spreadsheet for the tour revenue analysis, and we are going to be now on page Excel 36, which is copying formulas with relative cell references. Copying and moving a cell allows you to reuse a formula you've already created. Copying cells is usually faster than retyping the formula in them, and it helps to prevent typing errors. You can use the copy and paste commands or the fill handle to copy formulas. The fill button, list arrow, can also be used to fill cells containing formulas going left, right, up, down, and in series. If the cells you are copying contain relative cell reference, you want to maintain the relative referencing if you don't need to make any changes to the cells before copying them. So let's take a look and let's make some cell references and copy those on there. On the first step on page 36, it tells us that we want to click on cell B21, which that is the formula that we use down here. And then it tells us that we want to click on the copy button. So we're going to copy this information on here. And so this formula for calculating a 30% sales increase during quarter one is copied to the clipboard. Now, of course, notice that the formula appears in the formula bar and a moving border is around the active cell now. If we click on cell C21 and then click on the paste button, you will now notice that the formula from cell B21 is copied into cell C21, and the new result of 445217.188 appears. Notice in the formula bar that the cell reference has changed. That way, so now C12 is referenced in the formula instead of B12. This formula contains a relative cell reference, which tells Excel to substitute new cell references when the copied formula is as necessary. This maintains the same relationship between new cells containing the formula and cells within the formula. In this case, Excel adjusted the formula so that C12, the cell reference 9 rows above C21, replace cell B12. And the cell reference 9 rows above B21. You can drag the fill handle in a cell to copy cells or to continue a series of data such as quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and so forth, based on previous cells, and that's what's called autofill. In step 3, it tells us that we are going to point to the fill handle in cell C21. Now when you do that, your pointer should turn to a thin black cross. Then you're going to press and hold your left mouse button and drag this over to cell E21, and you'll notice that on there, when you release your mouse button, a formula similar to the one in cell 21 now appears in the range D21 and E21 after you release your mouse button. And the autofill options button, which we see down here, appears so that you can fill the cells with only specific elements of the copy cells if you wish. And you can see that you can copy the cells, fill the formatting only, or you can fill it without formatting. On step 4, it tells us that we're going to click on cell F4. So when we go up here, here's F4. And this tells us here that we are now going to click on the AutoSum button in the editing group. And when we do that, notice that we have our function here of the sum function, and it's going to add up this information right here, these 4 cells directly to the left of the cell that we're putting in our formula. When we do that, we're going to click on enter, and we should have our result. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to click on the copy, and then we're going to select the range F5 and F6, and we're going to click on paste. And now notice that formulas very similar to that on there has been pasted. And of course, after you release your mouse button on there, you'll notice that the paste options button appears. So you can paste only specific elements of the copied selection if you wish. The formula for calculating quarterly revenue for tours in Britain appears in the formula bar. If you'd like totals to appear in cells F7 through F11, the fill command in the editing group can be used to copy the formula into the remaining cells. So now what we're going to do is we're going to deselect the cell, and we're going to select cells, or the cell range F6 through F11. When we do that, now we're going to use the fill button on there, and we're going to click on down because our formula is in the top of this range. We want the formula to copy down. And when we do that, the formulas are now copied to each cell. So if you're looking in the textbook right now, you need to look on page 37 and compare what you have right now to figure B16. Now, of course, when you use the autofill handles to copy the cells, the autofill options button will appear. And the autofill options differ depending on what you are copying. If you had selected cells containing a series such as Monday and Tuesday, and then used the fill handle, you would see the options continuing the series such as Wednesday, Thursday, and so on. Or for simply pasting the copy cells. Clicking the autofill options button opens a list that lets you choose the following options. You can either copy the cells, fill the series if it's applicable, fill the formatting only, or fill without formatting. When you choose copy cells, it means that the cell and its formatting will be copied. When you use the fill formatting only options, it copies only the formatting attributes, but not the formula and its cell references. The fill without formatting option copies the formula and its cell references, but no formatting. And of course, the copy cell is the default option when you use the fill handle to copy a formula. So if you want to copy the cell, its references, and formatting, ultimately you can just ignore that button. And this concludes the information about copying formulas with relative cell references. Our next video is going to be talking about copying formulas with absolute cell references.